Oh my god, we're on time today, guys. Hi. Welcome back for the 40th show of Movies, Music, and Mayhem. Who the fuck thought we'd go this long? Not me. Although we are still in a pandemic, so why wouldn't we go this long? Today's guest is the most amazing. He's magical, he's knowledgeable, and he actually can make magic like actually work for him in a bar. So, guys, the one and only Mr. Robert Parker.
Hello.
I need to get sound effects because I want like cheering and like a
that'd be good, like fireworks or something. That'd be cool.
Like,
right.
Not the air horns because I can't do the air. Like I'm too old for air horns. But like,
right.
oh
fair.
My gosh, it's
that'd be good.
So fun. Well, hi, I miss you. How are you doing?
I miss you too. I'm doing okay. I'm trying to we talked right before we started, trying to stay safe and sane. One more so than the other. But. No, it's good. It's been a long time since I've been in a bar trying to make it work. I might be a little bit rusty, but no, it's fine. It's getting cold here. It's getting very cold. Snow is on the ground for sure. Ice. The roads are freezing over, so people forget how to drive. But everything's going good.
Yeah, there's so many times that like even I live in Northern California now, so like there's no weather.
Right.
Every now and then it's like, oh look, rain. There's a cloud in the sky. But even so, like there are so few people on the streets that like now I'm getting crazy notifications on my phones of like accidents and hit and runs and shit. I'm like, guys, wow. Just because there's nobody on the street doesn't mean you forget how to fucking drive.
Right.
Like,
it's not your turn to go out and play Grand Theft Auto. That's
right. Although I would really love to do like a joyride. I think that all cars should be unlocked for 24 hours. And like you just get to find one and just like I find a really cool car and just like drive up and down the coast.
Right.
And then just like return it and be like, I filled the gas tank.
Right. Just toss them the keys like they're valet, even though it's their like crazy expensive car. That'd be funny.
Just leave like actually get like photos developed of like me in the car having like a really good day, just like cruising on the
Polaroid and shit. For sure, yeah.
I mean, that could be fun. Have you done any like because like, we had Paul on last week, and I mean we've all followed Paul on Twitter and Facebook and shit, like and seen that he has like I think he's done the pandemic better than almost anybody.
Yeah, no kidding. Just his adventures, like that's crazy cool.
Yeah. Have you gone out with have you gone on any adventures with like just by yourself or like with like friends that have like quarantined safely and
That's a good question. I went a couple of weeks ago and visited some college friends. So that was a lot of fun. But like we didn't like go see trees that are 500 feet tall or hike the Grand Canyon or anything like that. We just like hung out around town like but no, not really as far as sightseeing or adventures. Like I haven't gone to like new cities. I haven't really like traveled super far. I haven't like gone camping or anything like that. The weather's just not for it right now. So I like seeing people and like, staying in and, having a drink and watching a movie and that kind of stuff. But as far as, larger scale stuff, not so much for me.
So just like a typical Wisconsin winter.
Right, 100%. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah. We drink indoors. We don't go outside. We see people very rarely.
Absolutely, yeah. That's honestly not much has changed. Like the bars are still open here, which is ludicrous to me. Like you can still just like walk into a bar on a Saturday night, and that's the reason that COVID is still around because of people who do that. But yeah, I don't know. I've just been dealing with it, same everybody else is, trying to stay in as much as possible.
Well, speaking of bars, I know you've got a drink. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. Cheers. What are you drinking?
I am drinking. So I got real cheap. My mom was at Costco a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And this is, well, I say a few weeks ago to cover how much of this is missing.
Right.
It's the Costco Canadian whiskey blend.
I've had that before. That's not bad.
It's so good.
It's not bad at all.
Like, this is very dangerous. There's like hardly an edge to it. It's really tasty. It's smoky. It's kind of sweet, but not like cloyingly.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm just going to pour it into this very tiny glass and like sip on it.
Right. You could almost be sipping wine. Like, yeah, it's very nice. Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you. Costco alcohol is not bad. Like the Kirkland brand, I fuck with it.
Yeah, for sure. It's like people looking down at people who bought $2 Chuck, and it's like you realize that the company, like there's not a vineyard for Chuck.
Right.
Like it's not a place. They literally buy leftover barrels of wine from like really, really good vineyards and like bottle them under Chuck because like
under just a different label, right?
Yeah, it's like if they're like, oh yeah, if a case is like 92 bottles, we only have enough wine left for like 83, so we're not going to bottle it because it's like not a full case.
Right,
they buy it, like Chuck buys it from them wholesale and then puts it and gives it to us for $3. So who knows? You might be getting like an $85 bottle of wine for like $3.
Right. Speaking of, I have a real quick story about a weirdly priced alcohol. So this is something that happened a couple months into quarantine. This happened in maybe like June of last year, so it was quite a few months ago by now. But I had some friends over. It's my first time that I just graduated from college a few months earlier, so it's my first time really introducing like my hometown friends to my college friends. So it was like 5 or 6 people over for a weekend, which is like not the same as like going to a bar full of 50 people or like a baseball stadium. But anyways, so we all quarantined, we all hung out, they all came over to my place. One of my friends who's a big tequila drinker, she brought this like really nice, like it wasn't super, super expensive, but it was like a $30 probably bottle of tequila, which is like
it's solid good bottle.
Right, that's a good bottle of tequila. And then one of my other friends, who's not as big of a tequila drinker, but knew that us two were, me and my friend, she bought at a gas station a $12 bottle of tequila from a gas station. It was like the most generic, like it had a sombrero and said like El Camarino or something like that. It was real bad.
You're so racist.
Right, real bad, terrible. It was like I swear she said it was like $12 and she bought it at like a gas station corner or whatever, like just craziest thing. And we wanted to taste test them to see the differences, right? Mm-hmm. So we did. It was like 10 in the morning, by the way, because we're Wisconsin. So
it's still dark out at that point.
Right? It's like Alaska. We get like 4 hours of light a day. So we did a shot first of the gas station tequila, and it was terrible. It was the worst, like probably one of the worst alcohols I've ever had in my life, in the top 3 for sure. And I just wanted to go, like, I think I had to go just use the bathroom. Like I didn't have to throw up or anything. I just wanted to like take a little bit of a break before trying the next one. So I ran to the bathroom and I came back and all the other shots were poured for the second one. And I'm like, oh great, like awesome. Took the second one. I'm like, oh, that's a lot better. Yeah. And my friends are like, oh, is it? We poured you the gas station one again. So they all had the nice tequila on the second one. And they poured me another shot of the shitty $12 gas station tequila. And the power of the mind, I thought it was the good one. And I actually liked it better. And they didn't tell me until a couple hours later. They're like, yeah, we totally fucked you on the tequila thing, by the way.
Well, I mean, it was either power of the mind or like just the first shot just destroyed all of your taste buds.
Right. That's
and
very
you're like,
possible.
oh, this doesn't taste half bad. It's like, oh, because 90% of your taste buds are dead.
Right. That's also very possible. Tequila tends to do that.
So you didn't do a blind tasting. It was just like, oh, this is this.
We all knew what was what. I just thought I was getting the nice one on the second try, and they tricked me and gave me the shitty one again.
Yeah, we had to do like some sort of like, I can't remember what grade it is or which science class it was, but we had to do like an experiment or something. And so my friend and I, we were in high school drunk at a party at a friend's house. And we, as we did, I mean, to be fair, it was just like the same, like 12 of us, like every time.
That was
like,
not judgment from me at all. I
mean,
I don't have a leg to stand on in that regard.
I feel now like the need to explain why people are getting together, even if it was like 20 years ago.
Right.
Like we were safe, we were distancing, it was fine. But like we figured, we were drunk and we were looking at the bottle of vodka and it said like twice distilled or something like that. And we're like, distilled? Huh, I wonder what that means. And so we looked it up and then somebody was pulling out the Brita filter out of the fridge to pour some water for some very drunk juniors.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, light bulb, because we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with our science experiment. And I was like, oh my God, we can just buy a Brita filter and a whole bunch, like a Brita thing and all of these filters and like do a taste test on whether or not you could pass like Gordon's vodka, like the cheap, like $7 for a gallon in a plastic
kind of stuff. Right.
Oh, the stuff you use for jungle juice, like the cheapest, like pull paint off a car, like shine up a bumper, like it's so bad. Like, do not ingest this. We're like, we wonder if we can distill this through a Brita filter enough time to make it pass and be better than like Grey Goose or like Kettle One or something like that. And we did, and we turned in our thing.
That's fascinating.
It was so much fun. And like we turned in our project and we were so proud of ourselves. We're like, this worked. It was so good. And we like
That's
turned
incredible.
it in.
That's an incredible science experiment.
It was great, except for the fact that we were underage. And our teacher was like, who did you test this on? And we were like, our parents and aunts and family and adults. Adults.
And then James' older cousin. Yeah, it's fine.
Totally. College kids. That's it.
That's really
it was
cool.
Great. We got the side eye. We got a very begrudging A- from our teacher, and she was like, "Please do not tell anybody about this." And I'm like, "I'm telling everyone now."
That's going up on every social media instantly. Like,
yeah, talk about a TikTok hack.
You could actually distill vodka through a filter. Oh my god!
Through a Brita filter,
and it worked. That's incredible to me.
I mean, it got to the point. I think we triple distilled it because we ended up having like we had 4 Brita filters, and so we would distill an entire bottle through one, and then once it went through, we would put it through the second one, and then replace the filters, and then just like back and forth.
Right.
And so I think we found out that if you did it didn't make any difference if you did it more than 4 times.
Okay.
Like it stopped making a difference.
Because like obviously that's not like the actual distillation process that like breweries or anything use, but like I wonder what it like. Does it actually filter out like stuff that would actually fill out of the tap? Like it must have if it was a genuine difference.
I guess, but like we found out that it was comparable to Kettle One after 3 filters.
Okay.
Which
I feel like I need to experiment with this now. This sounds like something that I would like just do in my free time. Like this sounds very fascinating.
What else do you have to do?
I can hook I can hook my neighbors into like trying that out.
At-home science experiments for adults.
Right.
Forget trying to teach your kids photosynthesis.
Right. Instead, just make us better alcohol.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Just buy 3 gallons. I mean, you'll get the weirdest looks from the guy at the grocery store when you're buying like 3 gallons of gold.
I already get the weirdest look. When I walk into any liquor store looking like this, like it already throws people off.
Well, Chris said it. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's better now than it was 6 months ago.
I was about to say your beard has grown in quite nicely.
I am very happy with how it has. I mean, it's still not like a full beard, but like I look way better than I did 6 months ago. That's for sure.
You definitely look at least like sophomore in college versus sophomore in high school.
Right. I could still probably pull off 16 or 17, but I no longer can pull off 13, which I'm glad for.
No. Yeah. Yeah, let's not go that route. That sounds awful. I mean, we've already seen what happens when that when people do that. There's so many Netflix and Prime movies about it.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And the teachers and the students. Yeah, whatever.
Nope.
Ugh. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So what have you been watching lately to keep up with sanity?
Yeah, I have been rewatching some stuff, watching some new stuff. As far as movies go, like I spent a lot of 2020 after my Schmoedown season ended, which was like in April. It was pretty early as far as when we were like shooting stuff. It was like April or May maybe. I spent the rest of the year watching new movies I'd never seen before. So I watched like 200 plus. I could pull up the list. I watched a lot of just stuff that I'd never seen before, like not for a particular reason, not like to study or anything like that, but just to like be like a 238. I watched 238 movies that I'd never watched before after that period. So I was really proud of that, and like all kinds of stuff from like The Godfather to like weird horror movies that I was watching with my friends to just all kinds of stuff. And as far as like TV, I'm still not that big of like a show guy. Like my dad is. He watches shows constantly, but like I still haven't watched Queen's Gambit, and I really want to. But I know that's the only. Every time I say that, people are like, "What are you waiting for?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I probably should just do it." And then there's a limited series on Hulu based on my favorite book, which is called Looking for Alaska, and it's an 8-episode miniseries. So I rewatched that once in the last couple weeks too, and that was really just as good as it was. I've seen the show twice now, but I've read the book 24 times, like a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I remember seeing the ads for that show and being like, that looks
Yeah.
really intriguing. And I was like,
It
I'll
is.
watch it eventually.
It's really, really good. The book is by the same author as the guy. His name is John Green. He did Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns
I
and
hate that guy.
Turtles All the Way Down. Huh? You hate that guy?
He's just, well, I'm an emotional creature, so it just
Oh,
gets me
yeah, okay.
crying. So I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy's an asshole.
Yeah,
All he does
that's
is
fair.
want to make me cry.
That's absolutely fair. But he's an amazing author, and yeah. But yeah, other than that, like I've been trying to keep myself busy. A little bit of video games, more than the last like couple of years. Like I've kind of gotten back into gaming a little bit, and yeah, I don't know. That's about it. I don't really watch much like YouTube or anything like that. I know like that's strange for a lot of people, especially people my age. Like they're like, you don't spend like 10 hours a day on YouTube. I'm like, I definitely do not do that. Listen to some podcasts. I don't know. The usual.
What movie did you find? What movie did you think that you weren't going to like and then ended up loving? And then what was like your favorite movie that you got to watch brand new?
Okay, I need to pull up the list because I want to make sure I give the right answer.
I'm totally with you.
So,
are you on your what's that app?
I'm on my Letterboxd, yeah.
Letterboxd, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to use that. I literally just keep a list in my phone.
Right. Letterboxd is it's the best. So let's see. Stuff that I wasn't necessarily sure that I would like that I ended up loving. The first two that come to mind are Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
So good.
And a movie called Your Name, which is this animated like body switch movie that Paul Oyama suggested to me.
It's the hand, right?
Yeah. What was that?
It's about the hand, right?
The hand? Maybe.
No, different movie. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, it's like a body switch movie, and it's a Japanese animated movie. But those two, like I usually, or in the past, I haven't like loved a lot of foreign cinema that I've seen, partly just because I haven't seen a lot of good stuff. And both of those, I was like hesitant going in. Both ended up being like, oh my god, these are perfect. And then something that I found that I absolutely love, it's tough. Probably either Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I saw that for the first time, and going in, I kind of knew that like that's a very Robert movie. It's very like sort of philosophical and like makes you think a little bit, and is also very entertaining. Like the pace keeps moving. And the other one is About Time, which is the Rachel McAdams, Donald Gleason one. I watched that for the first time in probably March, and I've watched it like 4 times since then. I've like that was my favorite movie of the new stuff I watched, and I again, that's another one that like going in, I was like, yeah, I'll probably like this, and then ended up just completely falling for it.
Well, the relationship between Donald Gleason and Bill Nighy, I think, is
so good.
It's just like
yeah.
Any movie about a child and their father, like I instantly am like drawn to it. Like it instantly speaks to me, and like you know, using time travel to go back and like be able to get to go see it, like that's just instantly just hits you right in the heart. Well,
and the chemistry
in the corner crying. So
100%, yeah, I cry every time I watch that, and I like I said, I watched it like 4 times. The chemistry between Rachel McAdams and Donald Gleason is just off the charts. She is so charming, and he's great too. Like they just play off each other so extremely well. And again, like kind of like Eternal Sunshine, like it's a movie that makes you think like, oh, you know, what would I do with this time? And it's got a very like sort of cheesy but philosophical, like when those two things combine, those are the Robert Parker movies. Is like philosophical, super cheesy, but I really love them because it's like, oh, what would you do that time? You know, you live each day to the fullest. How he lives each day a second time just to like breathe in and just appreciate life. Like I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, plus I mean everybody involved in that movie is just so fantastically talented and entertaining.
Right. That movie is like
and like you said, charming. Like they're just like the Brits are just charming.
Right, they are. That movie has like a cast of like a lot of character actors that are in a lot of other stuff. Like it has Margot Robbie, it has Tom Hollander, it has like I think Richard Griffiths and Jonathan Pryce. Like these are like Oscar-nominated actors who just like randomly showed up in About Time. Like it's really, really good.
Yeah, I was watching. Oh shit, what movie was I watching? It was one of those like I've trying to get back into study mode and everything, and you're just kind of like like I don't want to watch anything that wasn't theatrically released, and so like so I found this one that was called not Unknown. Where was it? Oh, The Love Punch, and it like takes place in London, and it's Emma Thompson and
and Pierce Brosnan
and like like every other actor that's ever been in Harry Potter, and I was like,
that's the Brits doing it, right.
It's like
I added
every
it to
single
my watch
person that
list.
came, yeah, every single person that came on, and my mom was just getting so frustrated because I just kept
Right.
calling them by their Harry Potter names. And she's like, "Stop! You're confusing me."
Right. That's good.
It's my
Yeah.
training. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I've started to get back into studying like probably the last month or so, maybe a little bit more than that. But definitely one thing that I did realize, like after I mean, I had quite a few months off, was that I do love studying and I do love, like, I find something to love in all the movies that I watch to study. But there is something about um, bringing it back to the love of movies and not necessarily like I love trivia, but it's not about the love of trivia. It's about the love of movies. And I think really bringing it back to that was very important for me this off season. So I had a couple months of not being like, well, do I need to watch this to study, or hey, I've heard about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Why haven't I seen that? Let's just throw that on. And then I watched it and loved it. Like
Yeah.
it's discovering those movies and watching a lot of them that are sort of tentpole movies that you just haven't seen yet. So that's what I spent a lot of 2020 doing.
Yeah, I like going. I went through the AFI 100 list.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, which ones haven't I seen? Because
Right.
I like you saying that you've seen like 283 movies that you haven't seen, and they're probably all like great movies and important and blockbusters and
Not
shit
all
like
of
that.
them.
Like in my head, I'm like, I can't think of 100 movies like that I haven't seen because we've been studying for so long.
Right. Right.
And I do think that this last season was like really important for the competitors to be like, because because the Schmoedown started with it just being like what you knew, like just off the top of your head. No one was studying. It was super fun. It was just for the pure love of movies. And then as it progressed and became more serious and more of like an actual game instead of just like something they drunkenly did at the end of an episode, you know, it took on this life of its own and it started snowballing. And I think that after a while, it started taking over more of the studying and the trivia aspect versus the love of movies. And I would love for this game to like find that balance again.
Right. And I think it's getting there. And I don't want to like try to disparage like the love of trivia. Like I'm a huge trivia. Like I used to play bar trivia every week. Like I still absolutely love trivia, and I love the game. I think the passion for the game that you're talking about, like the gamesmanship, practicing strategy and picking your category, like I think that's all very, very important. And it's part of what makes the game so unique is the luck factor. It is the gamesmanship. It is the game theory. Like those are all really integral parts. Those are all very integral parts of the game and of the show. And I agree with you. I think the love of movies has been overshadowed a little bit, but I think it's starting to work its way back towards that balance. People who study absolutely can still love movies, but I think I've had this talk with some other people that just when you feel like you can't watch something that you really, really want to watch because you have to watch something else to study, I think there's a dissonance for a lot of people there. So it is what it is. Everybody has their own tactics, and I think that's a good thing. Again, like I think diversity in competitors and study tactics and movie fandom, like as much diversity as we can get, is important. But I do think that it is striking the balance a little bit better now than it was maybe 9 months ago.
Oh yeah. No, I just miss seeing the look on a competitor's face when a question gets asked about a movie that they deeply love and they unconsciously light up and they're like, oh, I love this movie. Like, like ask me every question about this movie, you know?
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Like, and usually it's like a movie that like none of us have heard of, or like maybe three of us like have acknowledged and like one of us really loves too. But yeah, I mean, I love the game. I do. It just gets to a point where sometimes you get beaten down and like you're like, my inability to remember movie dates is going to make this not fun because now I'm going away from everything that I love and having to study this thing that I hate.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. I definitely had like a like minor like come to Jesus moment of like after I was done for my season, I was like, like I've spent the last like really couple of years because I played the fan leagues for so long, like couple months especially, like prepping for this, and like came up a little short, and like feels a little bad. Like, I think I just need to like take some time off and not watch a single MCU or Harry Potter or Star Trek movie, and just
Unless
kind of
you want to.
right, unless I want to, and just
Like,
kind of detox.
yeah.
Like that. I think detox is a very good word for it, because especially in IG, and especially even more so in Star Wars, like to be at the top level, you have to always, like, there is no off season. You always have to be studying, and I just needed some time off. And then I got it, and now I'm back on the horse, and I've been studying more in the last month and a half than I have in the last 6 months before that, and I'm back in fighting shape, and I feel good. So I don't want people to be like, oh, he doesn't care anymore. Like, I absolutely still do.
I mean, I don't think that I think that if anybody ever says that about any competitor whose name is even in the draft, like, they have absolutely no clue.
Right. There's a lot of
like, you have to be invested in order to do this. Like, you have to care. Like,
right, or else you wouldn't do it. And we've seen plenty of people, and it's no slight to them. We've seen people come and go, people who don't like. We've seen people come and go. We've seen people who've come in just be like, it's not right for me. I don't really care. Whatever. And those aren't the people who the fans talk about. Those aren't the people who are at the top of the rankings, at the top of the leaderboard, playing, winning through tournaments, winning lots of matches, building a legacy. Like, if that legacy is something you care about, great. And I'm like, that's where I'm sitting at right now. Like, that's something to pursue. That's a goal. And it's no slight to people who are just like, it's not for me.
Yeah. I mean, you can have your fun and enjoy it, but if
and
if
it should still be fun, even amidst the studying, even amongst the winning and the losing and the heartbreak and the camaraderie. At the end of the day, it should still be fun, even though it's highly competitive. I'm a very competitive person. I find fun and I find value in competing and competitiveness and talking the theory and talking to other people who are also competitive. So it's just a matter of how you find your fun in it.
Yeah, and it's not like we're getting paid enough to like endure this if we're in, like, if we don't like
if
it
you really
and stick
don't,
around. Like, this is not a career, guys. Like,
right. Nobody's forcing you to do, like, people like would be sad to see anybody go, but like at the end of the day, you still have to do what's right for you as like a human being. Like, your personal, like, physiological and mental needs exceed that of the show. So, but again, that's no slight to people who have stepped away. That doesn't make them lesser competitors, or it just means that the show wasn't right for them. And the people who get it. The people who are invested right now are the most invested that they've ever been, competitors and fans. This is the most, I think this is the most potential, like, this moment right now, this week and next week, the next 2 weeks are the most invested, the like highest metric of investment that any highest metric of investment that you can be at on both the competitor and fan side. I think this is the most potential is right now.
Yeah, we're definitely hitting the apex between the free agency, which is tomorrow. Literally, like, it starts in less than 24 hours.
That's
and
nuts.
Yeah, I know. And then the draft happens next Friday.
Yep.
Now I know I'm not going to be in the free agency, which I am very kind of happy about. Like, it's very low stress. Like, I've pulled my hands back at this point, and I'm just like, Jesus is going to take the wheel, and I'm going to end up where I end up, and I just
and it's going to work. It's going to work out.
Yeah, it's going to work out. Everything's going to be fine. Like, the world isn't ending,
right?
Especially after yesterday.
Okay.
But you have any nuggets you want to drop for free agency? Any ideas you got going on in your brain?
I think I'm contractually obliged. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I think I'm morally obliged to say I cannot confirm or deny the details of any operation without the secretary's approval. And I'm not quite sure who the secretary is, but yeah,
I will say this: the contracts that we signed do not go into effect until February 1st.
There we go. All right, I'm going to tell everybody everything. Oh, wait, no, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I read every single word of that thing. I highlighted it because I'm an asshole and I look for loopholes. And I'm like, wait, no,
that's how it's written. Like, that's people. Right? More people should do that,
right? But okay, so a lot of people are assuming that you're going to get picked up by the dungeon. Now, say that doesn't happen. What do you think would be the funniest draft pick for you?
Funniest, like person I can play off of comedically, or just like, okay.
Just or anything. Like what do
Right.
you think would be like like a very like huh?
I think if we're going like comedically, like humor, funny, I think Dagnino and I would play off each other well. Kaiser and I play off each other very well, and I think Dagnino comedically they have similar styles. They're not the same, but they're similar. So just if we're talking like comedically, like ripping jokes and stuff, Dagnino would be funny. But as far as like biggest question mark, just like what the fuck? Why did that happen? It would have to be Shannon. Not because I would never work with her, because she's actually one of the few people who messaged me before the draft last year. So not that like she was manager of the year this year. Like that's you never close doors. But she already has 2 great IG players. Like that would just make no sense for me to go there.
Interesting.
But yeah, I can't think of like anything else that's like that doesn't make sense or what. Like I don't know. I think I am a pretty agreeable person and would be able to fall in wherever.
Yeah, you're pretty malleable.
Right.
But
for better or worse.
Well, I mean, now that Kevin's out of the season,
Right.
obviously, we're like he's still going to be like the coach. We know for the dungeon.
Trainer, very much so.
He's not necessarily out of the game. He's just not playing right now, which
he's not an active competitor. Right.
I just think it makes the dungeon have a very dangerous leg up on a ton of other factions because they do have that coach available to them.
Right.
Now with Kevin out and you being now probably the dungeon's like head IG guy, like do you have your eye on any other IG players that are rookies that are coming in? Do you know anything about them?
So the only IG rookie that I can speak on is Amaru Moses. He played, and he was on Backstage this week, and he played in the fan leagues. We never played each other. We were never even playing at the same time. He came in after I was gone, or maybe slightly before, and he's good. Like I don't want to. I as somebody who has been the victim of, I think, overhype. I never want to curse somebody with that, so I don't want to. I don't want anybody to feel the pressure, both just on themselves and externally, of overhype. But he's good, and I think
I don't think you were overhyped. Honestly, I think you just got a really shitty.
COVID happened, frankly. Like it had somebody, I think it was David Sackwriter, wrote about this. He had like a dungeon piece that I read maybe last week or this week or something like that, and he said like Kaiser's strategy would have worked if COVID hadn't happened and we had kept playing in studio. Smets would have played like 3 matches by the middle of the year, and I would have played 3 or 4 and had a title shot by like June. Had I kept winning, of course, and had he kept winning, of course. But putting your eggs in one basket, as they say. If we had stayed in studio and live events had continued to happen, it would have worked, or it could have worked. It had a much higher % chance of working in studio before we went virtual. But I think, if we're talking IG rookies who are good, I think Amaru is the only one I know about. I know that there are other IG rookies. I just don't know enough about them. Yeah. But like I've written matches for him. I've hosted matches that he's played in. He's the real deal.
Interesting. Yeah, I think this year might be, and because now each faction has the option to have 12 players in that faction. Yeah. I think it would be a really strong strategy to have 2 IG players and have maybe one of your IG players be able to go over and be competitive in Star Wars or like
even in team.
Yeah, you have to have those players that are willing and able to cross over.
Right.
Like you can't be a one-trick pony anymore.
Right, especially because I believe they're reinstituting this year in singles and teams that you can put individual IG categories back on the wheel. So this last season, I'm pretty sure you could just put an IG slice. I think this year you can put Marvel, Star Trek, Harry Potter as individual slices on the wheel. So a super strong IG player who knows their stuff could be a real asset to a 2-person team. They may not be out there winning championships, but if somebody can get 5 4 to 7 points in round 1 as an IG player, and then put 2 IG categories on the wheel that your opponent's going to spin away from that you can nail 100%, and you can hit a 2-pointer, that's an asset for a team.
You literally just described my statistics. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I think there's that. I think a lot of people fall under that umbrella. I don't think, but right. I think that like, not that 2 IG players should like form up and team up and be a team together. I think that might be a little bit silly, but
I mean, that could be a very interesting strategy.
Right, it's something to try. It's never been tried before. There are very few people who started out as IG specific who then went to try something else. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head is Brandon Hanna, who played one team's match this year. It didn't go their way, but he did okay.
Yeah.
All the other people who are cross-divisional with IG came from somewhere, or right. So like Mike started out in singles and teams, then came to IG. Rachel started with teams, then came to IG. Alex Damon started with Star Wars, and then came to IG. Zipper started with teams and came to IG. Right, there people who are cross divisional. Nobody has really came from IG and then went somewhere else before.
I wonder if, because the only, like, when you were talking about that, the first person that popped in my mind you didn't even mention, and that's Jason Inman.
Inman started in teams though. He started his first matches were teams.
But I mean, to be fair, didn't they like invent IG like after a certain point after everybody was competing? So like everybody had to come from that. So like you're saying that like after IG was made, if they started in IG crossing over. Okay.
Right. Mike and Inman were both playing before the IG division was a thing. That's true. But I think we've had a lot of people, especially this year with the tournament, we've had a lot of singles and teams player come in and try IG. Chance, Paul, both of the Real Rejects, and Janine and Jen and Ben Goddard, and like we've had a lot of people come from singles and teams in to try their hand at IG. I think it'd be very interesting to see more people like myself or Chandru or Brandon to try to expand and just see what their use is in other divisions. Not that like being not that if they do poorly then they're not a useful player, because of course they can still murder an IG, but just to see if they are cross-functional.
Well, as of now, as far as I'm aware, that change that you said about being able to put IG slices into singles or teams matches has not been 100% approved. I know that was like what.
I could be totally wrong. That could just be.
I know that there was something that was talked about.
Right, it's been tossed around, especially last season. I know it was tossed around a lot. So
we were able to last season because when Ben, like during, I think it was the first match that Ben and I had, we put Harry Potter on, like we put Potter Universe on the wheel because he's super strong in that, and I'm no slouch in that. So like we're like, fuck yeah, let's put it on. And then like our next match, they're like, yeah, so no IG slices on the wheel, and I'm like, but they're still movies. Like I don't understand. It's like
I think
movies and regular and like. I don't know. But we're told that it was going to be added back in. We don't get the official wheel list until, according to the contracts, February 1st is the last that they can change them. And then I think it's July 1st. Anything can be changed as well.
Right. That's probably free agency in the middle of the season. Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think at that point, I'm hoping in the next few weeks between now and February 1st that we will be able to get that list and it will be able to confirm or deny that, just to give us an idea one way or the other.
Right.
Because I do like that option of having that on there. Like,
it's interesting.
I think it's only fair.
I don't know if that meta would work. Like, a decent singles player who teams up with a really strong IG player and throw them on a team. I don't know if it would work, but I think it's something to explore.
I mean, there are some IG players that are incredibly strong in like general knowledge of cinema. So like, why not see how that goes? I mean,
especially with there's more matches every week this season. I think it's just something that managers should be thinking about, or at least have in the back of the word soup. I think that's something that managers should at least be thinking about in the back of their minds. Is this viable? Could it work? And maybe 2 or 3 managers try it this season, and every single one of them lose their first match. Maybe that happens, and then everybody's like, "Well, that's not the meta." But maybe it works, and they win 2 and maybe 3 matches and get that many points for their faction. Like maybe it's something to try.
Yeah, and like you said, Jader and Brandon did pretty
Yeah, they
damn
did good.
well
They did
together.
good.
And like,
they're not gonna beat like the top tier teams. They're not gonna beat a Shazam or a Final
you,
Exam
but
or
you never know because
right.
it's one of those things. It's like the worst player on their best day can beat the best player on their worst day. Like
That's true.
the way the wheel spins, you have no idea. Round 2 and 3 are completely up in the air.
Right.
And so like, like if I always say like I could beat Irwin if he spins Disney and then gets Disney and Pixar for his 3 and 5.
Right, you're right. Luck plays a factor, and as it should. It's at the end of the day, it's still a show, and I don't think like people. Excuse me. I think luck in categories should still exist. And I know the question writers work very, very, very hard and are not commended enough on their efforts to make point levels as even as possible. I think they get a lot of flack when things go wrong, but they don't get a lot of praise when things go right, which is 80 to 90% of the time. But I agree. I think luck of the categories is absolutely a factor.
Yeah.
And that those things can be, especially in round 2, that's the strategy of putting your categories on, is you influence the percentages there, but you can never guarantee.
No, it's never a guarantee. It's all a crapshoot, literally. Right. Jedi McPip says worked for Chance and Mike, and I completely agree with that. I mean, obviously I've played them, and that was rough.
They're a good team. I mean, they've won the title twice now. Like they're 2-time teams champion. Not a lot of teams have done that.
No,
it's Corruption, Shire Wolves, Odd Couple.
Fathers, and Odd Couple.
Only won it. They only had one reign.
I thought they had it twice.
No, they won it in Orlando.
Sorry, I was thinking of top 10.
Against
top 10 had it, and then
top 10 only had it once as well.
Right, but I was thinking because
they played for it a lot.
Roca has been a 2-time teams champion.
Yes, but like teams itself, I think those are the only 3. I think it's Odd Couple, Corruption, and Shire Wolves, the only 3 teams who have held those titles more than once.
Jeez,
and that's impressive. Like
yeah. And I mean, not to say anything against, the Patriots, 17-month reign?
Yeah. Like, I think 6 or 7 defenses, like that. That'll never be beat.
No, because they were like, well, yeah, maybe it was.
I think they were. I would think they went like 9 or I think they went 8 or 9-0 before losing. Yeah.
Jeez, just ridiculous. Just
right.
Although I am really excited for the amount of matches that are being planned for this year, and it's like, well, it's needed because with 96 competitors.
Right. I'm interested to see, and we don't have to delve on this like too long, but like I'm very interested to see what'll happen with the competitors who are not drafted, because the most recent draft list I didn't sit there and count, but like I saw comments that were saying it's like 150 maybe around that, give or take 20ish. I am interested to see what happens to the 50 plus people who don't get drafted. Like that's why I think it's important and good for so many of these shows, Certain Point of View, C2A, even Backstage, to be showcasing rookies. I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's only halfway as being able to showcase them. Like, it's the manager's job to watch and like study and like do their half of the work.
Do their due diligence. Yeah.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens tomorrow with those first 3. Obviously, I mean, obviously we know that Shannon is keeping.
Right.
And then like just to see what the other 21 people are going to be. And then the real mayhem starts.
Right.
Next week.
I'm interested to see what the conversation is, because I do not know. I do not know much about what's going on tomorrow. I know what's going on with me, and that's about it. So I'm interested to see if there are big surprises. When there are big surprises, what they are. Yeah, I'm sure they will be.
Yeah, I'll be sitting right there.
Right.
Pants, watching my TV right here.
There you go.
And
elastic waistbands. They're the real MVP of 2020.
They are, but they're also the devil, because somebody called them sweggings, and what used to be loose sweatpants are now tight leggings. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
no, I feel that.
Gotta get back to the gym once they open.
That's just the excessive amount of Costco alcohol there. That's
Costco alcohol and beer and Wisconsin cheese.
Oh yeah.
I do. I mean, as lactose intolerant as I am, like I do miss the squeaky cheese.
Oh, sweet. I don't have any. I would bring some up. But yeah, squeaky cheese curds are the best. I love deep fried cheese curds, but squeaky cheese curds they hit different.
Yeah, they do. They make little noises and magic.
They do when you're chewing them. Yeah, it's the best. Yeah.
So now we've gone over our movies. What music have you been like using to soothe the savage soul of craziness during this?
Right. So I am weird with music. I listen to. I don't discover new music that often. Like I have a friend who listens to like a couple albums a week that he's never heard before, and that's a little excessive. But like I don't even like I maybe listen to like 2 new albums a year, maybe. But otherwise, I like find other music by other artists that I already know I like and all that kind of stuff. So like I've been listening to as far as just pure albums, I've been listening to the same album since 2014. And I still listen to them because they still bring me just as much joy. But
you sound like you're my age. Like
that's true. I mean, that's still like 5 or 6 years. That's still 5 or 6 years of listening to the same artists.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of. Traditionally, I listen to a lot of like One Republic and All Time Low and Walk the Moon. Those are big favorites for me. And then this year, I've started to get a little bit more into different artists. Like I never really listened to a lot of Machine Gun Kelly, and I've like low-key, like I haven't heard something I haven't liked. Like I haven't listened to every song, but like I haven't heard something I haven't liked. Same thing this year. I listened to almost every song by Blink-182. Really like them. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
They'll never be the same.
Right. Right.
As much as I love Matt Skiba, like let's just be honest.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, what have I?
Dude, All Time Low's new album is like
so
they've been around. They've been around so long that I did Warped Tour with them. Okay, and they were big then. Like those are my babies. I love them so much. I actually texted out the other day, be like, "I know you're busy, but I want you on my show because I miss you and I love you."
That'd be so. Yeah.
But like they were big in like 2008 when I was an MC for AT&T on the Warped Tour, and they were like one of our sponsored bands, and they're still like one of the biggest pop punk bands around. Like they're like, you say that name, and most anybody under 30 is like, oh my god, yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah, Wake Up Sunshine was their new album. It was so good. Glitter and Crimson is like that's maybe my favorite song of the year.
They're just so good, and they're like they actually are one of the few artists that still do like conceptual music videos.
Right? Yeah.
That are stellar. Like they're one of those like they're very much a group that employs their friends, but like all of their friends are wicked talented.
Crazy talented, yeah.
Like they're like, oh yeah, our buddy who we've known since like junior high is now in video editing, so we're gonna have him edit our music video, and it's like this mind-blowing conglomerate. It's so much fun. It's so good. I miss them. I literally listened to Dear Maria about an hour ago.
It's still so good, and like I don't even know how many years ago that came out, but it was not recent, and it's still incredible.
It was almost 15 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
No, it can't be that long.
No, not that long. I don't know. Let's look it up.
Yeah, I was like, let's figure this out.
If only we had a search engine that existed that gave us the ability to find out information in milliseconds.
Now I have that song.
2007.
Okay, so 14 years ago.
Right.
I was not off very much.
No, it was surprisingly close. Yeah.
I hate talking numbers when it comes to years. It just makes me feel so old. Dude, yeah, new Weezer too. Weezer, like, there are bands that were broken up that are now like have nothing else to do, and now they're just coming back together, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I made this new song. Do you guys want to hear it?" It's like, yes, please.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just weird. I listen to like the same 2 One Republic albums and have been for the last 5 years, and I still love them. But I just like I'm one of those people who I have a couple of close friends who very much know my music taste. So every couple of weeks, every couple of months, they'll just be like, "Hey, you'd really like this. Listen to this." And I'll be like, "This is incredible." And then I'll get it on my phone, and then I'll put it on my playlist. And then I have like a driving playlist that's like slowly been growing, which is like, oh man, just music I love. And so those friends, I'm very grateful, because I am not one of those people who like can tell other people what to listen to and like recommend stuff. I soak in like a sponge all of the recommendations from people who know what I like.
Well, to be fair, the people who recommend things are the sponges that have reached their excess. And they're just like, somebody
Right.
take this away from me so I'm not so bloated.
Right. They've reached their final form.
I will say this. From everything that you said, I want you to check out Butch Walker.
I'm pulling up a notes tab.
And all of his stuff. He is amazing. Okay. He's a singer, songwriter, producer. He's worked with fucking everybody. Okay. He's just disgustingly talented. Him and April Smith and the Moving Picture Show. April. She's a little weird. She's a little stylized, but she's so good. And I think that you'd like Amanda Palmer.
I feel like I've heard that name before.
Amanda
maybe
Palmer
I'm just thinking of like the actress Teresa Palmer or something like that. That's very possible.
No, she was married to Neil Gaiman.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'll be why I know. That's why I've heard that name.
Yeah, no, she's weird, and like in the most amazingly positive way. She's just like, she shaves her eyebrows, then like draws them on in like
oh wow,
like lightning bolts. She's weird. She does like art shows where she just wanders around naked and like lets people draw on her in lipstick. Like she's just this. She's not from this world.
Nutty, but interesting, yeah.
Yeah, just weird, but like fascinating.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, I think she played Sally Bowles in Cabaret.
Okay.
I don't know. My best friend went to it, and she was like, she's one of her biggest fans. And yes, solo work and Dresden Dolls. Yes, Dresden Dolls are phenomenal. Amanda Palmer is amazing. I actually have an album of the Dresden Dolls in my collection, and my niece, when she was really, really little, we would have dance parties whenever I would come home from tour, and I'd let her pick the album, and because the spine is bright pink, she would always pick Amanda Palmer's album, and I would pull it out, and we put it on, and she would just dance around. She loved that album. It's so good.
What's the coolest piece of like swag or merch or memorabilia you have from your days? Because like you've done it for a long time. Like we've talked about this a little bit before. Like, what's you must have just so many things. Like, do you take one thing from each tour or something?
Oh yeah, no, I'm a klepto when it comes to that shit.
Right.
Okay, so actually, you know what? Hold on, I have a huge collection.
Okay. While you get that, I'm gonna go get a new drink.
Okay. We're gonna take a slight break here, folks.
Right. 3, 2, 1, break.
Okay. Well, we abandon you to go look for cool things.
All right, we're back.
Okay, so I have, because I sold merchandise, I used to have like a massive collection of tour shirts and hoodies. Like I, at one point, had 600 hoodies and over 1,200 shirts.
Oh my God.
Thank God I got rid of most of them. I have since like cut out the designs for a few of them that I want to like put into a blanket, and now like with what I have cut out, it has to be a double-sided like 15-foot by 15-foot blanket, which I am not.
That'd be really cool though. That'd be really cool.
Let me see. I have this very old yellow card poster.
That's pretty neat. You can like tell. Oh my God, that's cool.
Yeah, this was. I think I tore this off of this a fence at Warped Tour. Now we're getting real emo, Rachel. I've got
here for it.
This amazing old school Dashboard Confessional.
That's pretty cool. That design is really neat.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. I have a really great brand new poster, but it's really hard to get back in, so I can't bring it back out. I have set lists signed by Dropkick Murphys and Bad Religion. But I think the best thing I own, like the coolest thing that everybody's like, are you fucking kidding me? So I won tickets to see Weenie Roast, which is the LA, K-Rock is the rock station of LA. And it's their like kickoff to summer concert that they always do. Like everybody has one of those, like, you know, school gets out and then like the radio station throws this big concert, and like up here in Northern California, it's called BFD. It's big fucking day. LA's is Weenie Roast. And so I won pit tickets like the day before. and they had a surprise headliner that like it was so tight-lipped, nobody was talking about it, like nothing slipped out. I'm front row, like against the barricade, and all of a sudden,
And your next guest, the Beatles.
fucking Motley Crue comes out.
Oh wow!
And it was fantastic. I mean, this was like a long time ago. They rode out on Harleys onto the stage,
incredible.
and like Vince Neil had like 3 girls in bikinis on his, and like it was everything you wanted it to be.
Right.
And it was so much fun. At one point, Vince Neil jumps down like onto the barricade in front of me, and like felt me up, but it was fun.
As you do.
My hands up. Fuck it. It's fucking Motley Crue. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Shit happens. Like, you know.
Yeah. They jumped back on stage, and I ended up getting Nick Mars, or not Nick Mars, Nikki Sixx ended up giving me, like, handing me his guitar pick holder from his mic stand.
That's so cool.
Straight to me, and this has been on excuse me, this has been on top of my calendar ever since, and this was like 15 years ago. Like like this is like my favorite thing that I've ever gotten. Not that I've worked that show, but like I think that's my favorite piece.
No, but yeah, that counts. 100% counts.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, like I've got so many set lists that have been signed. I could like wallpaper this entire bedroom.
I love those kind of stories. When I was in college, I worked with like the programming board, so we would like be the ones who were booking entertainment. So we'd like do the contracting process, like we'd do the whole thing. And my boss, who had been working there for 40 years or something crazy like that, like for a stupid long amount of time, had just so many stories of like crazy bands. Like he once walked in on like a band doing coke in the green room, like just all of this. I mean, it was the 80s, you know.
Was it a Tuesday? Because
just like all of this crazy stuff. Like I loved, obviously, like I only did it for 4 years. I don't have that many crazy stories of like booking and like running shows and stuff like that. But I love hearing those kind of stories.
Who was your favorite band that you got to work with while you were there?
That's a good question. I didn't get to work with them, but I went to see them when I was still in high school at the school that I ended up attending. Panic at the Disco was there. And they were a great show.
That is such a love.
Yeah, they were incredible. I don't even know, probably a junior in high school, maybe.
That was what?
That was 2015, maybe 2014.
Okay, so that was after they got off of Ramen. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the exact timeline. I couldn't tell you. But
they were like very theatrical.
Right, and very like super popular for like high schoolers. Like, so yeah, they're probably my favorite concert that I ever saw at that venue, even though I wasn't running the show. My favorite one that I ever worked with, oh man, Judah and the Lion were really fun. They're like relatively recent. We had them my junior year of school, so that was 2018, maybe 2019. We had them a couple months before they went to Summerfest. So Summerfest is like the Milwaukee, like Summerfest got canceled this year, and I was so sad because I just like to go hang around by the side stages and stuff. But Summerfest is like a massive music festival, like a 2-week long thing in Milwaukee.
It's like Lollapalooza, but like on steroids.
Yeah, it's like it's one of the biggest music festivals in the country. Mm-hmm. And it's like this 2-week thing in Milwaukee at the fairgrounds and stuff like that. So we had them like just before they went to Summerfest, so like right before they blew up. So like our venue was like not sold out. Like we lost like a decent amount of money like on the show, but then like 3 months later, like they were the biggest thing on the radio. Like you couldn't take a 30-minute ride without hearing them. They were a lot of fun. I got to like drive them around and stuff. That was their we always like, for a bigger show like that, everybody on the staff like signs up for certain roles, and I got the best role, which is of course just being the on-call driver. So I just park the van and just like hang around until they say they need something, and then I just go get it. But yeah, Jude the Lion were really fun. I really, really mostly enjoyed working with comedians. That was my or magicians. Those, because I could like bullshit with them more than I could because I just am not musically inclined, so like I couldn't talk the craft with bands, but I could with comedians and magicians. Biggest comedian we ever had was one Mark Ellis came to my school
Oh,
because
I
I
think
booked
I've heard of him. He seems like a real big douchebag, though. So
yeah, what an asshole. But yeah, I met him like, oh man, December 2019 probably. That was the first time like meeting him, which was like well before I came in the league. Like he tells a story about like how he was like doing a run of colleges and he saw me in the crowd and like all that kind of stuff. Like that's true, except I was running the show that night.
but you were the one holding the spot, so
right. I was the one who shined him the light because he was taking fucking 3 hours up there.
I totally believe that. Now, dude, actually, it's funny. We ended. I did my last day of Broadway touring in Milwaukee with American in Paris in 2018, and during that time, we were there for a week. It was going on. Summerfest was going on, and so like I had a ton of friends who were playing, and so like during the day, I would just like go down to the fairgrounds, and get escorted in and hang out with my friends, and they weren't playing until like much later. But like we got to hang out and like, you know, get to walk around and smell a funnel cake and, you know, hang out with everybody. And then I would like
do drugs behind bleachers, like you know.
Then like 4 o'clock I would take a cab back over to the theater and go do my job, and then like meet up later for drinks if we had to and if we had time. And I actually I have friends who live just outside of Milwaukee that when they were dating, I think they were either like just about to get engaged or they just got engaged. And I get a text from my friend and he goes, "Hey, we're at Summerfest and tomorrow night Less Than Jake is playing. Is there any chance that like you can call in a favor?" And like I want like cuz like it's their favorite band. Like
and you knew, I'm assuming you know the band or you knew
they're dude, Chris and I go way back. And so like I was like I can do this. Like just give me a few minutes. And so I like text the proper people and I was like, my friends have tickets. It's their favorite. I think they like, I was like, they're either just about to get engaged or they've been together forever. Like they're their favorite band. Is there any chance that they can watch from the side stage? And they're like, of course. And I was like, great, here's their contact numbers, get together. So I love being able to, I miss being able to do stuff like that. It was like one of the best things. Like I got phone calls, like I got videos sent to me of like them on stage, like just being so excited, like the biggest fans. Like that's the stuff that I miss. Oh God, I miss crowds. I miss live events. Me too. Miss bands.
Yeah. I'm holding out hope beyond hope that Summerfest will still happen this year, but I don't think it will.
It might.
I maybe.
I mean, we're 2 days in. We're in our second day with Biden, and he's already signed like a ton of things to like make sure the vaccines get sent out. And
that's if the vaccine rollout can happen quick. I think we might have an okay-ish normal end of summer, which would be really great.
Yeah, but we might get fall tours, which would be
dope,
fucking amazing. Like legit, the first time I will see like the first time I see a tour announcement for the fall, I'm probably just gonna break down and cry because it's like that's my normal. That's it. Like one of the main reasons I decided to move back to LA when I stopped touring was because I was like, I miss seeing my friends so much, and then I move and it's like, and the world shut down, and I'm like,
right.
I was like, God, why don't you want me to see my friends?
Why don't you like just have a normal like couple months?
Just let me live a normal-ish life. But yeah, I miss all of that. What's the first concert you want to go see when all of this is done?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm again like one of those people who like I like concerts, but I don't like actively seek them out unless like if I hear like, oh, One Republic or Walk the Moon is coming to like the rave in Milwaukee, like I'm there. But like I don't really actively seek them out. More so my friends just be like, hey, do you want to come to this? And I'll be like, yeah, I'll buy a ticket and come with you. Like, and yeah, it's not like I have one that like got canceled and I had tickets and it was supposed to happen and then it didn't.
But like dream concert.
Dream, like the one, like if they were probably One Republic, because they were at Summerfest a couple years ago, Well, I say a couple, like 5 or 6, and I didn't see them then. And they've come out with a new album since then. It's my favorite album of theirs, so I would love to see them perform that live. That's the most, but also like like once it's open up, like I'll go see whatever.
And basically, if there is a mic on stand and a drum kit, I'm there.
Right. I'll just
like,
go. I'll just watch. I'll
like
stream it. Like, let's watch a David B concert or something. Like, it's fine.
I mean, yeah, 100%.
I would do it. I'd buy a ticket for that.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I want to be in a theater. Like, I want to go get drunk at a bar.
Yeah, retweet that really hard.
I want to tell the merch girl how to do her job because she's doing it wrong. Or, like, I want to go behind the merch booth and like redo all of her displays so it actually works. I want to smell diesel fuel.
Do you?
Like,
that's something I could go my whole life without ever smelling again.
Yeah, but like that smell in my brain is associated with tour, and that associates with like my friends and like my tour family and like my 20s basically. Right, yeah. So it's like I heard a tour. I heard an RV drive by the other day, and I was like, "What?"
The bus. Right.
I was like, "Oh, not the same." All right. I get it.
So how long? Like, when you were touring? Was it always both Broadway and bands, or was there like a clear stop and start?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I started touring with bands. I did regional stuff in like my very late teens. I moved down to LA when I was 19. No, when I was 20. Turned 21, started working for bands, touring with them there. I was actually the on-call merch girl for the since sadly closed Key Club. It was my favorite. If you like, it was the home of Steel Panther. So if you like really like offensive hair metal,
can't say I do, but I'll go along to anything.
But you can't say you don't until you hear what they're about. So these guys are all like in their late 40s, 50s, and they dress like a hair metal band from like the like late 80s, like spandex and like ripped mesh t-shirts and like hair with like 3 days.
Are you sure you're not selling me anymore?
Telling me. They started off as a cover band at the Roxy, and they would do like, it was the thing to do. They were the resident band every like Monday night, and every Monday was sold out. Like half the crowd were celebrities. People would just go there to like, sing Sweet Child. It was just, it was so much fun. And like, they didn't care. Like there was nothing PC about this show. And like, it was a place where people could just go and let go. And so they progressed and they started writing their own songs, and they have a song called Community Property, which is like the raunchiest ballad about how his cock is community property when he's on tour. And like,
as you do, like
literally the lyrics are, "You're the only girl that I want to screw when I'm not on the road." Like it's so sweet.
Again, you're not selling me any harder.
Oh my God. It's so much fun. It's so good, but it's very like tongue in cheek. It's very like,
it sounds very like tongue out of cheek, very direct. Like
it is, but it's like it's nothing about it is serious. It's very like
they don't take themselves too seriously. Like it's very like parody. Like
yeah, they're like they have music videos that are just ridiculous, but they're so much fun. And they ended up playing. They went from the Roxy to the House of Blues to the Key Club. And the Key Club is where I literally would work almost every week, like 2 or 3 nights a week there for like different bands that were going through. And it got to the point where like the manager, like the owner knew who I was, the on-site manager knew who I was, all of the bartenders, the waiters, the bouncers, like everyone knew who I was, to the point where one night we were down the street at the Rainbow Lounge, or the Rainbow Room, and there was this huge line outside of the Key Club. And I was like, what the hell is going on over there? And my friends and I are like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, I'm going to go find out. I'm like, I'll be back in 20 minutes. So I walk over, and I'm just literally the only white person walking past this massive line. And I get to the front, and the bouncer's there. His name's Brandon. We like had this brother-sister relationship where we would just tease each other and pinch and just punch each other. So I walked up and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, oh, you don't know? And I was like, no. He's like, oh, they didn't hire you to sell tonight? I'm like, fuck you. Like, who's playing? He's like, it's a private show. And I'm like, all right, fine. I'm on the list then, probably. And he goes, just go see. And he throws a wristband on me, and I walk in, and it's fucking Snoop Dogg.
Oh my god, what? That's
Just
why.
doing this random show, just random private show. It was one of those like, you know, like they announced it on like his website, like fan club or whatever, and it was like the 200 people in line get in or something like that.
You watched it?
So like,
got it. Good.
I'm just like this 22-year-old white girl just passing like this line of like massive Snoop fans and just being like, I don't know what's going on right now. And then walking, like passing all of them, walking straight in, and then 10 minutes later walking out and like with a wristband. And I had one guy who's like, I'll give you $300 for that wristband. And I'm like, you can go fuck yourself. No, I'm coming back. Like, I'm just going to get a drink.
I would $300 cash. Are you kidding me? I'll take it.
No, because everybody in there knows who I am, so I'm like, I'm not going to ruin that relationship.
Fair. No, that's yep.
Like, no.
Thinking of it that way. That's true.
But it was weird shit like that. Yeah, I've got a million stories, most of which I forget until like somebody brings up something. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened.
Triggers like a memory, right? That happens for me a lot too.
Yeah, there's a lot of haze that goes on in this brain. A lot of it gets pushed back. I've replaced a lot of my old memories with movie trivia now, so
I feel that. I was trying to get good at trivia while being in college, and like combining those two, I feel like I have a lot of crazy college stories, and like those like legitimately somebody will like bring up like a movie or like a character or something like that, and it'll trigger like a weird college story. Like I was once playing Batman Arkham Knight because I like when I was in college, similar with music, I just played like the same 4 or 5 video games like over and over and over and over again. So whenever somebody brings up Batman or like the video game franchise, I was playing Batman until like 2 a.m. like a Friday night, and my roommate walks in, just like I don't know. This is a funny story, so I'm not gonna hold back. He walked in, and as soon as the door opened, I could smell the vodka on him, like in the top 3 or 4 drunkest I've ever seen him, and he was just distraught. He walks in, and he just goes, "Playing Batman?" Like in that voice, like he was on the verge of tears when he walked in the door. I'm like, buddy, what's going on? Like I was stone cold sober. I'm like, dude, so like I paused the game. He's just like, you still playing Batman? Like in that voice, it was so funny. I consoled him, and he was having like a rough time with a girl that he was into. But like, just the line, you playing Batman, is just like one of the funniest. Maybe the funniest, second funniest thing I've ever heard a drunk person say. It was so good.
Oh man, I literally on where is it? I kept a list. Where is it? Oh my god. So I was on this flight one time. I can't remember where I was going. I think we landed in Vegas, and it was either to Vegas or from Vegas. On the way, it was like a stopover or whatever. And there was like, I was sitting in the front row. It was a Southwest flight because I'm a Southwest shell. I love Southwest. Give me 2 free checked bags. Fuck yeah. And your cheap flights and great flight attendants. Like, of course I will fucking spill my love for you. So I was sitting in the front row, and this really cute guy sat, like I was sitting in the aisle, and he sat on the window side, and I was like, yes. And so like we had that moment where like, you know, like when there's a middle seat open next to you, you both just kind of like lean into it and try to take up as much space as possible.
Right.
So people are like, oh, I don't want to sit between that.
Right.
So like it was like, it's like that unspoken thing. And so like he sat down, we looked at each other, and I was like, oh, so cute. And we both just kind of like spread into the middle seat. And then this fucking drunk ass woman comes and sits between us, and I'm like, you bitch. But she's what I aspired to be. Not the cock blocking part of it, but
no, that's not what you want to see.
But I literally was writing down. I have this note on my phone from fucking forever ago on this flight of flight one-liners, which were life advice from her as we're on this like 45-minute flight together. And like he and I were having a conversation when she sat down. So we tried to like continue the conversation to kind of like, you know, just dissuade her and like make her move, because it like wasn't a full flight. And it's like, why would you sit in the middle? Like,
right, that's just rude.
Go sit there. But good men are like bad orgasms. I don't know if they exist.
Wow. That's a good line. That's the title of like an autobiography. Like
I mean,
that's
it's definitely going to be a chapter in my autobiography.
yeah, that's good.
You make a great crotch watcher. I'm glad we have men like you guarding our country, because
Was he like in uniform or
he was in uniform,
Right.
and I think she like spilled something on her lap, and she literally said country, and she goes, "Cunt, get it?" Like,
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
I'm typing that one in.
Right.
You take them. Oh, she was showing us. She showed us something that a bar had given out,
Okay.
and she goes, "You take them to the bar and exchange them for drinks, like AA chips." And I was like,
That's gonna be a fucking yikes for me.
I literally like stopped the stewardess, and I was like, "She doesn't get any more drinks." She's like, "No."
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, and I'm kind of scared. I mean, I think that's the title for my autobiography.
I don't know what that means, and I'm kind of scared. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
But the first one was gold. Good men
First
are
one's
like
really
bad
good.
orgasms. I don't know if they
exist. Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, it's
good line.
sad. I mean, I know for a fact that good men exist. They just don't exist in my world. Like,
Yeah, you know,
not in my dating world, or in my dating history. But yeah, I have yet to experience a bad orgasm. So, we got a Streamlab from Steve from Movie Fanobi. Says Spider, Silvestrini, Rachel, you do seem like you could be a big sister. I am a big sister. I just wanted to say hello. End of a very long day, but feeling accomplished. Good night, lovely lady. Oh, I'm so glad you got something done. Steve, you're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh yeah, guys, if you have any Streamlabs, you can hold on. I completely forgot to do this. You can send them.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, fuck it.
That side. There we go.
That side.
Right about there.
Right above Robert's head.
There we go.
But yeah, so no, I mean, I love writing down things like that. Or we had a one of our crew members on Beauty and the Beast. His name was Corey Cluse.
Okay.
And he was very tall. He's like
sounds like a Wes Anderson character.
Very much is, actually. Now that you say that, I'm like, why didn't I think of this before? But he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's very large. He's very like lumberjack style, like scraggly hair, like scraggly hair. Yeah. But we were in Alaska. Literally, I think it was like 8 years ago to the date. Was when we left, but we were there for 3 weeks in January. So like literally when you said 4 hours of sunlight, I was like, no,
that's the real. I was joking. That's the real version.
I'm like, no, I lived that. When we got there was 4 hours of sunlight. And when we left, there was 5. It was very weird.
Wow. Big celebration to be had.
Very much so. But when we got there, the first night after I got there, we were doing a cabaret at a drag show.
Okay.
And Corey got drunk, as we all did, because elevation and travel and dehydration plus drag show drinks equals inebriation.
That'll do it.
Well, we go outside. The boys take a smoke break. I'm outside hanging out with them. And all of a sudden, because it's Anchorage, a 6-month-old bull moose wanders into the parking lot. They call them city moose.
Right.
And I'm like,
I have heard stories of this.
I was like, so had I. And I was like, this is bullshit. And then he wanders in. I'm like, oh, fuck.
That's a moose, yeah.
So Corey wants to pet the moose.
Right. Oh, I would have wanted to, too, if I was drunk. Oh,
No. When I say 6 months old, I mean like already 6 feet tall.
No, I know what you mean, yeah.
Like, this is
if I saw a moose in real life, I would want to touch it.
I mean, yes.
Especially if drunk.
Yes. So the moose kind of like wanders off, and Corey basically tries running after him and like chases him around follows him around the block back to the parking lot and gets across a car hood from him.
Wow.
And puts his hand out, like takes his glove out, puts his hand
sniff it, like
not even like this.
Okay.
Like across the car hood. And then I'm just like, oh my God, it's gonna bite his hand off. Like we're gonna have to go to the hospital.
It's gonna
Like
hurt him somehow. Yeah.
Corey, this is not good. And like during this whole time, I'm following him just to make sure that if something does happen to him, there's somebody around to call 911.
Right, 100%. Good for you being responsible.
I try. Even drunk, I try.
Right.
He puts his hand. Yeah, he puts his hand out, and the moose. It was like this magical moment where the moose just kind of like sniffs towards it, and then just like puts his nose into his hand.
Wow.
And I was like, he was like, I'm touching a moose. And as soon as he started to laugh, the moose got spooked and started pawing the ground. And I'm like, we need to leave right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, we are in deep shit.
We had our moment. Let's bail.
The moment of magic has passed. Right. So we decided to write. We wanted to start creating children's books based around Corey and his adventures. So we decided that the first book was obviously going to be Corey Cluse Pets a Moose.
Right.
And then the next one was going to be, because we got very drunk in Texas, Corey Cluse and the Tumbleweed on the Loose.
That's good rhyming. Whoever's writing these titles is pretty good. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Solid.
I mean, and these were also very drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I literally started like looking through my, we were going to call it The Adventures of Man Boy.
Man Boy, that's good. Man Boy is definitely a Wes Anderson movie. Now, like Corey Cluse is the main. That's 100%. Man Boy that's as close to Moonrise Kingdom as you can get.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm hoping one day to actually create these. Now that he's married and with a child, I'm kind of like, ooh, I really should get these together for him.
Right.
Like,
you gotta change the character name though, so that or at least add like a. Because you can't like subject like his children to like learning about his their father's drunken adventures from children's books. Like that's a little bit too much.
I mean, we're not going to make him drunk in the book. It's going to be
okay. If it's more like PG or even G, like if it's more okay, all right, you got me. Yeah, but then they're gonna ask him about it, and he's gonna be like, yeah, I got fucking blasted one weekend in Alaska.
I mean. We were drunk the whole time. Let's just be honest. When there's a daily high of 8 degrees.
Yeah.
No, you just keep drinking. Oh my God. Wait, what? Spill my love for you. What?
I think that was the airplane story.
Oh yeah.
I think
she was a character.
She was a hoot, is what she sounds like.
She was. She
sounds like a Tarantino character, is what she sounds like.
More of a Judd Apatow character, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, like a drunk Leslie Mann type.
From This Is 40?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I see it. I'm picturing the character now. I imagine she looks similar to Leslie Mann as well. Like maybe a different like hair color, but like the mannerisms.
I mean, it was very much a cross between like Leslie Mann and Magda from Something About Mary. You know, the older like lady that was just constantly drinking and like.
I think so. That was one of my 238, and I don't remember very much about it because I didn't like it.
She was incredibly tan.
Sure.
They saw her. They did like a frontal like.
I do remember. Yeah, that's not.
But like, it's like she was a cross between Magda and Leslie Mann. So
okay,
it was.
Wow, those are very different looking people.
Yeah, kind of. It was like if Leslie Mann aged the way that Magda aged.
Right. Okay.
I slightly remember what she looks like, but I think that's what it was.
Oh, Magda's okay. I know who you're talking. Okay. I had to look up the picture. That's Mary's roommate. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I couldn't remember if she was roommate or like landlord. That just would
I think roommate. I think roommate. Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Well, I hate it. I didn't hate it, but I did. I do not. I just don't like that that style of comedy, as in like bad comedy. So. I really didn't like it. Like I
think I like it because it was one of those movies that was so instrumental. Like it hit at the perfect time in my age.
Right. I have plenty of movies like that for myself too. Like Superbad, like was very much like a high school comedy. Like when I was in middle school, or like I was like maybe a freshman or so. I was in that transitory or transitory period where that was definitely like Like that's just one example. But everybody's got those kind of movies, like whether it be comedies or dramas or whatever, just those kind of movies that like don't age well, and like you look back on them and they're not great, but like you still, I don't know, you have a soft spot for them. I have a lot of animated movies like that for me. A lot. Like stuff like yeah, like Brother Bear and like Meet the Robinsons are like not those are like
they're beautiful.
Yeah, I love them very, very, very dearly. But like they're not that great of movies. But I love them.
They're not like they're not Coco.
Right,
but
right,
like,
exactly. They're not Inside Out and Finding Nemo, but like I really, really love them.
But they're still like heads and shoulder above like 80% of the other animated movies.
Right, they're also not Ants or like what are some, or like Boss Baby, or what are the other shitty DreamWorks movies? Just so I can single out one studio.
Right. What was that one with Will Smith as a fish? I hated that one.
Oh, Megamind? Are you talking about?
No, I
love Shark Tale.
Shark Tale. Yeah,
that movie sucks. Shark Tale is terrible.
It's so bad, guys. Like they wanted to do like Goodfellas in underwater, and I'm like,
right, Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro are even like in it. Like, oh, that movie's horrible.
Like I in my brain, the reason that they signed up for it was kind of like a miscommunication in the way that like, what's his name? Got suckered into Garfield.
Bryan Cranston?
No, not Cranston. Oh my God, Bill Murray. Because he thought that it was a Coen Brothers movie.
Oh, I've never heard this before.
It wasn't, and he was like, they're like, yeah, we want him like. He's like, oh, the Coen Brothers are doing Garfield. All right, that sounds like fun. And then he gets on set, and, like reads the script, and he's like, oh,
that's really funny. But he had already signed up for it. Yeah.
He was like, oh, I'll do it, which is why in the second one it's not him. Titan AE.
I've never seen it.
Real good. It's got a really great cast, actually. Where's my?
That was that was an anime series too, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
I might be thinking of something else. I had a friend in high school who was very much into anime, and I feel like I remember hearing that at some point.
No, it's got Matt
Damon in it, right?
Yeah. And Meg Ryan as voices. It's actually like the art of it is fantastic.
Like really well animated, right?
Yeah, like even in today's standards, like it's a lot of hand drawn, and there's like some computer animation, but like it's not as like, oh wow, that's computer animated. Like it's not like, it doesn't take you out of it. It's actually really done really well. And they give you a really good villain. It's like a pretty hard hitting,
pretty solid, yeah,
like animated movie. Because most animated movies, like, gloss over everything, and it's like, no, this.
I feel like that might have been true for animated movies at the time, but I feel like maybe since like 2008, 9, like there haven't been like the really little kids one, like your Boss Babies and your Turbos and stuff like that for sure. But like on the whole, I think animated movies have become much more adult. I mean, you look at something like Inside Out or even Soul, and not just Pixar, but like even like Wreck-It Ralph 2, like Ralph Breaks the Internet is like a very adult movie. Like the themes that it tackles, like it's still entertaining for kids, but I feel like after like WALL-E and Up, I feel like animated movies and studios really upped their game.
Yeah, well, I mean, their main audience that spiked, or that were part of like the massive spike during like the Disney Renaissance are all my age.
Right.
And so like as they grow up, you still want to appeal to like kids are your core audience, but like everybody knows that you're not going to get the kids unless you can get the parents in. Like they're not going to want to do it. But if you make it something that both the
like
parent and the child are into, like, and I think that's something that Pixar especially has done so beautifully, is being able to like take those really serious topics, make them ingestible for kids, and like give the adults, it doesn't dilute the message. It doesn't.
Right, and they're also just on the surface like very good movies. Yeah. Like there have been animated movies that like try to be adult and try to be like cross that gap between childish and adult and just aren't good. Yeah. like that's definitely been a thing too. But no, I think I agree. I think Disney Renaissance really kicked that out. I remember seeing Little Mermaid in theaters and it like blowing my mind. Um, that's not a joke at all, because I definitely was not alive when that movie came out.
I was like, what
Uh,
re-release was that? Because you
it
were
was
born in the
1989.
80s.
It was 1980. My parents went on a first date to Beauty and the Beast. True story.
Oh,
Their first date was Beauty and the Beast, and 4 years later they were married.
gross.
Yeah,
Was their first dance to Tale as Old as Time?
I have no idea. No, it wasn't. I know what their
Thank
wedding song was. Shit,
God.
what's it? It's Oh shit! If I heard it, I'd be able to tell you. Um, Give me a second. I'll think of it. We'll keep the conversation. It'll come to me like at the very end of the show.
Gotcha. No, I think music does have like such a incredible, like powerful hold on us, and I have what a lot of people have with recall. Like when you smell something and it like takes you back to a memory.
Yeah.
Like I have that with music, but it doesn't just take me back. It like makes me crave to watch the movie that reminds me of it. So like if I hear anything from the Empire Records soundtrack, I'm instantly like, I have to watch Empire Records like right now. Like I don't care what's going on.
Sure.
Do you have anything like that with you? Like, are there any like hard hitting songs that you're just like, this
Yeah.
reminds me of this movie 100%?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't. Yeah, for sure. It smells is a big thing, and then also just like, I mean, I joked earlier about like One Republic's newest album, but like that came out when I was a freshman in college, and like just like being a uh, a person who like was, how do I say this? Wanted to be angsty but wasn't. That's it, honestly though. Like I this is a real thing, which maybe is a whole different conversation for a whole different show. But like I think there's a lot of young people who like think it's cool to like be like
Angry.
not necessarily meant, yeah, angry or like sad or depressed, and like just because a lot of people genuinely are, and those people who like have real mental illness, it should be treated and should be taken extremely seriously. And I think that it's also like in a very strange sense popularized. And I don't know how that happened or why it happened. It shouldn't be taboo. We should be talking about it. But I do think that there are some people, including myself at that time, who like thought it was like cool or like edgy or like people would like you for it. Like it's a whole different conversation. But
Yeah.
I remember like just like walking through like the cold of my like college campus while listening to this music, and like whenever I hear those songs I'm like taken back to that moment. I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? I should just go inside and be warm. Like you're not cool. Like honestly though, like that's the truth. Like and I just like I learned over like the next couple of years that like it's not, I don't know, like I was just somebody. I think part of it is like wanting to fit in, and like if you're friends, like you want to be able to empathize with them when they're going through their issues. But like, mental illness should not be taken lightly, and it is very serious. And it's also something that shouldn't be seen as necessary. It shouldn't be taboo, but it shouldn't be desirable.
Right. It was at the time it was fashionable to be emo, and emo
right.
was,
Right, and it still is.
Look, it was a feeling, and like a lot of
Right.
people actually had those feelings, and a lot of people just wore the look.
Right.
And like it has since like I say, a lot of times the pendulum just swung the other way. Like
right.
Now it's not cool, but it's embraced. Like we are trying to help you. It's not cool.
And it shouldn't be not embraced
without help. It like we want you to be better. Like,
right, it should be embraced, and I think like people rebel against. I don't think people rebel against the idea of it being embraced, but people rebel against the idea of it being normal, and they like want to be different, so they like want to have these. That was my experience.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like I still, when I listen to that album, the Oh My album, like I'm still like walking through, and there's other songs like a lot of NF, who is he's a rapper that I listen to a lot. I got into because of a friend right after a really, really, really bad breakup, going into my senior year of college. And like, I don't want to get too much into it, but like at that point, like I took up smoking, and I was just not making good health decisions for myself. Like I was an insomniac, and I like had substance problems, and it was just, I wouldn't say problems. I was just drinking a lot and smoking a lot.
It was just affecting you. It was just manifesting in physical.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, 100%, yeah. And I quit smoking months ago, and like that's not something that I'm fucking with anymore. But like I went through a very, very big breakup, and that's how I coped. And so I
Yeah.
coped by like walking around campus again, like but like actually impacted this time, like smoking and listening to a lot of NF. So that's like when I hear, like, I still have a playlist of his music, and like I'm just taken back to like just walking around with like cigarettes and stuff like that. But I don't know that I have any other music like that. I definitely have like when I smell like really cheap whiskey, like I'm taken back to like a dorm room, like playing Batman and
Oh.
like drinking cheap whiskey. Like that's
Playing
definitely,
Batman?
you playing Batman? Yeah, that's God. I should text him that tonight. Uh, like it's just that that was one of the funny, genuinely like top 3 funniest things I've ever heard a drunk person
You
say.
need to make a meme of like Anna outside of Elsa's door.
Do you want to
You wanna
play Batman? You still playing Batman? That yeah, it was really good. But yeah, as far as music, I don't know. I don't really have like, besides those 2 artists or albums, like I don't really have something where I'm like, 'cause you just have more experience than I do, like with
Well,
a lot of music.
I'm also massively older, and
Don't shortchange yourself. You're not that much older.
I could biologically be your mother.
Maybe you are. Who knows?
Oh, I do. I know for a fact. See, that's one of the few blessings of having a vagina is I know for a fact that I do not have any children out there that 18 years after I pop something out is going to come on knocking on my door. No, for a
That's
fact.
funny. That's good. There's a really great joke in the movie Sisters, which is the Tina Fey, Amy Poehler movie.
So
John
good.
Cena is in it, and one of the sisters is like thirsting after him the whole movie. I don't remember which one it is. I think it's Tina Fey. Yeah.
She just
And
stands
like,
next to him.
there's a really, yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Please don't stop.
Yeah, they're hanging out at this party, and she like sneaks up. And she's like, "So, you have any kids?" And he's arms crossed, all buff Johnson. He goes, "Probably." Like, one of the funniest, like one of the most laugh out loud moments I've ever had in a movie theater.
I mean, to be fair, anytime Tina Fey, like anytime any of the women from SNL get together, like I'm instantly like, everybody was just completely trashing on Wine Country, the Netflix movie that got released.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, it's so funny. Like, it's not like, if you don't find it funny, it's not for you. I get it. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's just not for you.
Comedy's the most subjective genre too. Like, more than drama, more than horror, more than anything. Like everybody has just such a unique sense of humor and different, and that's a good thing. It's one of the things that like moves comedy forward. But like, it's very hard to say like, wow, that was bad. But there was somebody else who probably found it fucking hilarious.
Yeah. But that movie is like, I laughed so hard throughout that entire movie. Like, I think at one point I had to like leave the theater because I was like crying and like just need to like go grab a Kleenex or something, and just like wipe the tears from my eyes. I was dying during that movie. It's so freaking perfect. Yeah, that's it. That's a really good fucking.
That's just a great line. Like, just do you have any kids? Probably. Like that is such a funny line.
And like just delivered so perfectly. I hate it when people give wrestlers like a bad rap for being bad actors, and I'm like,
some of them are.
Yes.
I have seen a number of movies with wrestlers trying to be actors who are very, very bad. But there are a few who successfully make the jump and are genuinely good actors. Like John Cena and The Rock are both genuinely really good actors.
But like also, like even when they're not good actors, like sometimes that's what the movie calls for. Like,
right.
Hulk Hogan is not a good actor.
No.
But he's fucking perfect in some of the movies that he's in.
Oh, he's so good in Rocky 3.
Yeah. But like it's just you got to take it with a grain of salt, and it's just supposed to be entertaining. And if you're not entertained, then don't fucking watch it. Who cares?
Right. Best performance by a wrestler in a movie of all time is obviously Andre the Giant in Princess Bride. The Rock is pretty good in some of his movies, but I don't think he's ever been that good.
I mean, are we just gonna completely overlook Dax or Drax?
Oh, he's good in the first one. I have problems with his character as the movies go on.
Him. That's not a
right.
him.
He is very good.
And
he was very good.
He was also really good in Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, that first opening scene of
2049. Crap, he's
excellent in that movie. Yeah, Dave Bautista. Yeah,
he's also really good in not Brooklyn. What's the one with him and Oh my god. Why can't I think of it?
What,
Snow.
him and like the kid?
Brittany Snow. And like it like takes place in New York. Oh my god, guys, if you're in
I
the
don't know what
chat,
you're
please
thinking
help
of.
me out.
Thank you, Chris. Attack on Titan is exactly what I was thinking of, the anime earlier. That's
Gotcha.
100% correct.
No,
Are you
it's
talking about like? Wasn't there a movie recent like he was a spy or
oh,
something?
it's like Stubby or something like that. It's some like
Stuber?
acronym for like this.
Stuber. I
No,
think it's
it's not
Stuber.
Stuber.
Is it not? I honestly think it might be.
It's not Stuber. Nope. Hold on.
I think it might be Stuber. I'll bet you
No.
$20.
I bet you $20 it's not. I mean, I
My
know he was
Spy?
in
Is that
Stuber, but that's not the movie
It's
I'm talking
Stuber.
about.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not. That's not the movie I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Okay. He was definitely in a movie called Stuber, though.
I know, but that's not the movie I'm talking about.
My Spy?
No.
Oh,
He
he was
was
good in
really cute
Hotel
in that
Artemis.
though.
He was really good in Hotel
Yeah,
Artemis. I
he
like that
loves
movie.
playing all these like big action films.
Are you talking about Melissa McCarthy's The Boss? Did I lose you again? I lost you again.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry, guys.
Hey, it's fine. Shit happens.
Just all of a sudden, like, it was like the circle started spinning. I'm like, oh, it'll reset. And then all of a sudden, like, my internet, like, all the signals went down. And I was like, oh, fuck. Sorry about that. That was
I'm back.
out of the blue. But yeah, I mean, I know we've got you for like just a few more minutes.
Yeah.
So guys, if you have any questions, send them into Streamlabs real quick. We'll get to those. I'll ask my famous last question, and it'll all be fun and fine. So I really wanted to get into this earlier. The time just got away from us. So talk to me about oh my god, are we not live?
I think we are. It says live in the corner.
Okay, good. Talk to me about how you got into magic.
Oh, yeah. So that's a great question. When I was 9 or 10, my dad showed me a trick. It's the only trick he knows. He's not a magician by any means, but he knew this one trick. And he showed it to me, and he wouldn't tell me how it was done. So I spent the next 12 years learning the craft despite him. And I've been doing magic now for 11 years, almost 12. It'll be 12 this summer. And yeah, I basically, he was so patient with me. I basically made him show me it like times until I reverse engineered it in my head, and because he wouldn't tell me how it was done. If I guessed correctly, he would tell me that yes, you're right. So I reverse engineered it after seeing it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, and finally figured out how it was done at I think 9.5, 10 years old, and have been doing magic ever since. I learned that one trick from him, and I have been doing magic all the time. Like I said earlier, I worked with magicians when I was in college, so I would like learn routines off of them. I am mostly taught via YouTube, a couple books that were recommended to me. But yeah, I love magic.
That's awesome. Now, I for anybody who's watching, they probably know that you have a tattoo that is associated with.
Yeah, that's not a secret anymore, unfortunately.
No, but it's still, this trick is still fucking impressive.
The trick is still good, yeah.
But if you've noticed, he has a tattoo on his left arm. And I noticed that. But when I asked, I was like, I can't wait to see what trick that's associated with. He's like, no, it's not.
Unfortunately, I gotta figure one out though.
Like yeah, you do.
I need help figuring out what trick I should make that out of.
You should have it. Like, oh god, I mean, I can't. It's got to be something good because like.
Right. I can have people like try to figure out the maze, but it's actually pretty easy. Like I've done it a couple times. Like you could start and end in the same spot, like right here, and then work your way around my arm. But that's pretty easy. That's not even a trick. That's just like doing a maze on the back of a cereal box.
Yeah, but I mean that could be a really fun because like I use my name, like being able to spell my last name as a sobriety test. So you should use that as a sobriety test.
Right. I should. If I'm sober enough to do the maze, then I'm good.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's an excellent idea. I'm stealing that one.
No, I'm really curious though. What was the thought behind the maze? Like why?
So
why
actually, right. So I mentioned looking for Alaska earlier.
Yes.
And give me 1 second. I will show you. I don't have to tell you. So this is. I own 2 copies of the book. This is one of them. And on the inside cover, there is artwork of a maze.
Oh.
So I got that. Different sizing, obviously, but I got that. Like that middle bit is what is
the sensitive part.
Right here. Right. Actually, this part hurt the most. Like right under.
Did it?
Right under here, closest to the armpit. But yeah, I basically just got that wrapped all the way around.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
I've got my.
It's from my book. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got my nerd sleeve. So I've got Circle Gallifreyan. Right. And I've got Elvish at the back.
That's good.
And then I've got the Theory of Relativity right here at the front.
That's pretty dope.
But a lot of people questioned like, oh, what does it say? What does it say? And I was like, well, because at the time I worked for Disney, so all of my tattoos had to be covered up, which I was like, right, you're paying me enough. I support that. Right. So I had to like condense my nerd fandoms into like as much as I could. So like the Circle Gallifreyan is a quote from Firefly, and it says, I am a leaf on the wind, watch how I soar.
I dig it.
And then the Elvish is a quote from Supernatural. It says, family doesn't end in blood.
Okay.
And then the Theory of Relativity is just kind of a fun joke between me and my genetics. because it's the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time.
Right. That's cool.
And
I like
and
that.
so because I was like, every time someone would ask how old I was on tour, they were like, you're not. Like, you look so much younger. I'm like, well, it's because I spend so much time in the sky. Like,
Right.
we're just traveling constantly. And I'm like,
Right.
one of these
So
days,
you
I'm
know
just going to
those
wake
times
up and look like I'm 70. So, I may as well enjoy this while I got it.
That's pretty cool.
Aw, thanks, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
I can't
See
wait
you, man.
to see you in a few months. So Mike is getting married at the beginning of February, and I have been honored to be invited. I booked all my flights, booked hotels
Mike's the
and
best.
shit.
Her and Beth, or him and Beth both.
Yeah, they're the best. I'm so excited. So I'm just hoping and crossing my fingers and toes that everything goes well and we're still able to go, and that everything will still be open. I mean, I feel like I should still go anyway, just because like they're gonna get an Action House rental.
Right. I mean, yeah. If you look at tested beforehand, like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know it's in April. At the beginning, it's literally 10 weeks from like Saturday is the wedding. So 10 weeks.
Shit.
Like,
Weddings are cool. Two of my friends who both have been together for like years and years and years. They both just got engaged like within the last month. Like it's very exciting.
that's really exciting. But just make sure that you tell them that their weddings need to be at least like a month apart.
Right. I told them both. The first thing I asked when I heard from both of them, because both of the guys called me, and the first thing I said was, "Congrats! So open bar." It's the first thing I said to both of them. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I mean, to be fair, my favorite. It sounds kind of trashy, but one of my favorite things to do is I bring a flask to every wedding I go to.
That's smart.
Because you're not guaranteed to, even if they have like an open bar or a cash bar, they're not guaranteed to carry like the liquor that you want.
Right.
So I always would bring like a flask of Jameson.
That's really smart.
And so to a friend's wedding who, I was friends with the groom first, met his wife when they were like just starting, like before they started dating, actually. They worked together at Disneyland. Became friends with her and all of her family, got invited to the wedding, and I hadn't met her dad yet. And we're at the reception, and I'm off to the side, like at the bar, at the end of the bar, as far away from like the dance floor as I can get, with my cup of Sprite, trying to pour in my Jameson as like discreetly as possible. And her dad catches me, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Jameson," and he goes, "I won't tell my wife if you don't," and like holds out his cup, and I'm like, yes!
Hell yeah. That's the kind of people you want to be with. Those
easiest way to get in with anybody. It's just the best. It's so much fun. But I mean, I guarantee like Mike and Bethany's wedding is going to be fucking crazy. Because it's going to be me, Yakavetta, Larry Payne and his wife. I think Kelsey's going. It's going to be a party, guys. Like, there will be pictures, probably more posted than should be. All right, I know you have a call in about like 5 minutes, so
you're totally good. Do you want to see real quick before I go? Do you want to see the first trick that my dad ever showed me?
Yes. Oh my God. No.
This is so like there's a different trick that I like make a joke about in my set. But like this is truly the first trick I ever learned. Okay.
I'm so excited.
Normally I have people. I'll try to let me.
I'm just gonna take the overlay off.
Yeah, that's perfect actually. So usually like I would just have you like select a card, but obviously I can't do that. I wanna. Sometimes magicians like or sneak in, like make you make certain decisions for you. I want to like make it as fair as possible. I'm just gonna riff with my thumb. Tell me to stop whenever you want. Okay.
Stop.
Okay, right there.
Yep.
You can change your mind if you want.
Nope.
I'm gonna be very fair about this. I'm gonna right there. Okay.
Right there.
I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna show you that card.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. I'm just pop it down like there. I did not see it. So I have it just like sitting down there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's see here. Okay. So I'm gonna take your card here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna slide it into the deck right about there. Okay.
Okay.
Just tap it in. And I'm gonna try to make this as fair as possible. Right. Okay. This is tough doing it virtually. Okay. So your card First, you selected it. I didn't I wasn't doing anything cheaty there. I promise. That's a real genuine thing. I'm not just saying that. Like I genuinely, you had free choice, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't pick where to put the card back in the deck. I did. Normally I would have you select that, but I had to because we're doing it virtually. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to make this all in frame. I'm gonna do 3 magical flicks. 1, 2, 3, just like that. And now hopefully I'll do this as much in front of the camera as I can. Somewhere in this deck will be 1 card face up. Your card. Every other card face down. Was that it?
That's it.
That was your card right there?
Yeah.
Right. That is the first trick I ever learned when I was 10 years old, 9.5, 10. I made my dad do it like hundreds of times. It's still good. It works better, obviously, in person, but I'm very, very fond of that trick just because of how early on I learned it.
I mean, you know how much I love magic.
Right, right.
When you were at the bar at Barney's with us.
Oh, that was so much fun. I missed that. That was a year and a half ago. Do you know that? That was a long ass time ago.
It was so long ago.
That.
I just remember Chance like being drunk and starting to pick on you, and I'm like, I will end you, you sorry.
Oh, I can handle it. He was fine. He was just in jest. It was
he was drunk, but he like you know how like drunk guys can like they don't know when to stop.
No, look,
and I was like. And I was also just drunk too. And I was like, stop it.
A magician's best friend is a drunk audience. That's a line from How I Met Your Mother. And it's absolutely true. I know how to deal with drunk people when I'm doing magic. Like, I know the people that I need to ignore, the people I need to tell off. Like, bar magic is honestly the part I miss most about bars. Not just like drinking, like getting hammered and like walking home and stuff. Like
getting bartenders' numbers. I saw you that one time.
Well, more than one time. Look, I'm not gonna.
I saw you that one.
Right. Yeah. I love bar magic, and that's how I'm able to do. Like, I'm not just like some random drunk idiot being like, "Hey, can you see the number?" Like, no, like you gotta. I don't know. There's a level of entertainment that I love about magic. That's my. Whew,
yeah, we actually we had a magician who would wander around Warped Tour.
Yeah.
We literally called him Vinny Magic. Like to this day do not know his last name.
You don't need to, honestly, like that's the thing. Like when I used to, this is a while ago, when I was still in college, which feels like recently, but also it was a while ago. It feels like right. It feels like both 1,000 years ago and yesterday, but it was like a year and a half ago. I would like I would like try to get people's like Snapchats because I was an idiot senior in college who liked to drink and get people's Snapchats. And next to my name I would put like a couple cards, like emojis of like playing cards, so people knew who it was the next morning. Because otherwise they're gonna wake up and be like, because I've gotten the "Who are you again?" like, and that doesn't feel good. But I've never gotten one of those once I like started putting next to my name like cards. People are like, "Oh, it's you!" Like, yeah, hell yeah! Like, I don't know.
Yeah, my best friend's name is literally Jessica Johnson. Like, it's the most like generic name
Robert
ever.
Parker, like, is such a white man's name. Like,
right? No, but I met her in the scene, and people know her as Rose Pins because she would literally take those like little like roses that they like are embroidery roses and like attach them to safety pins and hand them out to band members. Excuse me. So if you go back and watch like early to mid 2000s, like punk rock music videos, on a lot of like guitar straps and everything, like you'll see these rose pins and like they were given to them from her. So it was like this really fun thing that she used to do. Really and cool. Also like, I think still to this day, she has me in her phone as Rachel Awesome.
Okay. It's an apt nickname. It's appropriate.
Well, like we were talking one day, like probably like 5 years into our friendship, we literally met at a concert, met in line, talked for a little bit, bonded over our shared love of like the headliner who we both had come to see. She had just moved to LA from Kansas City. I had just moved to LA from Northern California. Excuse me. And then we went to the show, ended up in separate parts of the venue. And then afterwards, we're talking to the lead singer. Excuse me. Or I'm talking to the lead singer, and Jessica walks by, and he goes, "Oh, hey, Jessica, Rachel, you two need to meet. You're going to be best friends." We're like, "Oh, we already are. Like, don't worry, we already know each other." And then we like went out to Mel's Diner that night, and we've literally been best friends ever since. And that was 2 days before my 21st birthday. Right. So we're going on 16 years this February or this April. So yeah. And so she literally like 5 years in, we were going through her phone and like she was like trying to delete people. And I'm like, who the fuck is Rachel Awesome? She's like, that's you idiot. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, you know, when you meet people, you have to like put like little monikers next to them so you remember them. She's like, I just never went back and changed it for you. And I'm like, no, don't you fucking dare either.
Right. I'm the most boring. Like, I always have first name, last name. Like, I am the most boring white bread person in my contacts. You will never see, like, even I've had like one time with an old ex. She got like mad at me that I didn't have like a heart next to her name or like something like that, and it was just her like first and last name. I was like, look, that's not something. I just don't do that. Like, if it'll make you feel better, like, sure, but like, I just, even my best friends are just like the first name, last name. Like, it's not. I'm the most boring person when it comes to that.
Yeah, the only exception that I make to that is like my mom, my stepmom, and my sister have ICE after their name for in case of emergency.
Sure, that's good.
And like that's literally the only thing difference. And like if I put your name in as like, you know, George, I'll like go into the notes and be like, this is the date I met them. This is the person. I'll write cliff notes.
I'll make a list. Yeah, or like as much details as I can. Like I put like their like favorite drink order, like what they get at McDonald's, like what they get at Taco. Like I'll put that kind of stuff in there because that's like when you're bringing people food, like it just means more if you like remember their order. Like if I'm like out to lunch with someone, like I'll write their order in my phone so that like I remember it for next time. I don't know. I just do silly stuff like that.
It's like borderline stalker, but like.
It's not if it's like I don't do it
borderline.
Like at the first time ever.
Borderline, right?
But like if I like get coffee with like my friend Ben, and then the next week he's like, "Want to get coffee again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll order our drinks ahead of time," and it's like the same thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird if it's somebody that you don't know. If there's like a attractive person across the bar and you see what they're drinking and you're like, oh, I'm gonna remember this for later. Like that's weird. That's fucking weird. But
that's dangerous. That's
right. Like, but like if it's somebody you know well, like it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I like to keep track of that too. Like, but I'll just do that mentally. But like in my phone, like if it's just a name, I'm like, okay, I need a cheat sheet for this
more
person.
Context, right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. I know you've got a call to make in like.
Yeah, I gotta head out. That's okay. Oh, she's gone. Here, let me do another magic trick. I don't know where she went. I hope her Wi-Fi didn't die again.
As I refreshed the wrong page.
Oh, you're back. Oh, I refresh these tabs all the time. You're fine.
I literally went to refresh Streamlabs instead of StreamYard, and I was like, oh shit.
That's okay.
Okay, so no more questions. So I'm gonna close with my favorite question.
Sure.
It's from my favorite movie, from Almost Famous.
Oh, I love it.
It's the last question that William asks. Do you have to be happy to write a love song? Do you have to be sad to write a sad song? What is it that you love about music?
I think it is the emotions that it can make you feel, and also two-part emotions that it make you feel. Even if you're not in a sad mood, if you listen to a sad song, you can feel sad. If you're in a sad mood, you can feel welcomed. I think enhancing and feeling emotion is like the point of human life. That's why I like emotive movies. And then also, I think the communicative aspect, having a community around a band, around an album, being introduced to new music by friends. I think the way it connects us with other people is extremely meaningful.
I love that. Every time I ask somebody, it's a completely different answer. It's very, very sweet. Okay, so I know you got to go. Okay, no so tell the kids where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at RBRTPRKR98. It's a really dumb handle. I made it a long time ago. Just search my name. You'll be able to find it. And yeah, that's about it. I don't really have like podcasts or anything like that. Thank you very much for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Of course. I'm so excited to see where you end up tomorrow, even though I'm like 99% sure you're back with Kaiser, because
I can either confirm or deny the details of any operation without the secretary's approval.
That's fair. I mean, I know that Kaiser will never draft me because he knows that I would just steal that Bobby Heenan jacket of his because it would look.
It's a great jacket.
It's first of all, I love Bobby Heenan. Like I lived by his words of advice: kick them while they're down; they're easier to reach.
Right.
It's just like he's just so great.
It's a great jacket.
It's also a great jacket, and also I just think it would fit me better. Just saying. So I don't think that Kaiser will ever draft me because he knows that I will steal that.
You'll go for the jacket. All right, that's fair.
Give it back eventually. But good luck tomorrow. I'm very excited.
Thank you very much, Rachel.
If you want to hang out for a hot second, I just have a few things to prep. So tomorrow, like we said, tomorrow is the free agency special. So tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, tune into the Schmoedown Entertainment Network. 7 of the 8 factions are going to be drafting. It's going to be fucking crazy. And then next week, on Tuesday, every Tuesday, I have Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist Rewind with Lindsay and Max. It's so much fun. It's Tuesdays at 9:15 Pacific time. It's right after the West Coast airing. We are trying to get some really cool guests on related to the show. It's going to be so much fun. And then next week, I have the one and only Frank Janish.
Hey!
Frankie Numbers is going to be on, and we're going to talk the draft, which is going to be next Friday at 5 p.m. And that's where you'll get to see me, probably. And then the rest of the month is just really cool. I'm so excited. We're going to do the Patreon Golden Day on the 31st. So if you are a member of the Patreon, we'll hang out for 2 hours. And then I'm doing my very first watch along, and it is to Out Cold with Ash. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Ash, nobody loves this movie like Ash and I do, so it's just gonna be her. And I like, what's the female term for broing down? Whatever that is, we're gonna do it, and I'm very excited for it.
I don't think I should be the one to answer that question.
Clamming down?
Sure. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, we'll clam down. It'll be fine. Jam out with our clams out? No, that's not cute.
Nope, definitely not that.
Nope, definitely not. Either way, we're gonna have fun. So come join us. It's gonna be a blast. And now we're going to end with my favorite thing ever, the awkward dance-off. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for having me, Rachel. Bye.